here we go. It's episode number 9, the Greeeeen episode. And wow, you all make my week every single week. But, know that the reason why we do this is not just for me. Well, we really love to spotlight our friends in restaurants and also those with small businesses, because this is a really hard time for a lot of people. And, we want to bring a bright moment to all of us and also give them an opportunity to continue to do what they do best, and that's serve. So I love to serve wine. So I've been doing that on every virtual platform and channel, and had the privilege of taking over MasterCard's Twitter Live a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was just a week ago. I don't even remember, but and had a lot of views. So if you happen to be on Twitter, please check out this, because we're now at 1.4 million views and I want to beat all the boys. So it'd be a big favor to me. Thanks, Amanda. We also want to let you know that we are all streaming together on Facebook Live right now, and we're putting all the previous episodes up on YouTube. So if you were not supposed to be with us in this Zoom, you're running from the law or something like this, please let Gabe and I know, and we'll make sure that you don't show up on any of these episodes, or we will mask you somehow. But we wanted to share all the sort of fun and brightness that we have every Sunday with more people. And we do have a bingo game that we play every week, and the prizes get bigger and bigger. We've given a huge gift set from Matthias and Wines, because Jill and Steve were guests of ours last week. We've given cheeses and all kinds of fun stuff. So you can find that bingo card on my Instagram at Belinda_Chicago, and you can screenshot it and you can play along. And if you fill in the entire bingo card and you're the first to post it and tag all of us, you will win something epic delivered direct to your door, no matter where you are. You don't have to be a Chicagoan. We've sent gift packs to DC and also to San Jose. And these were our guests from last week. We're so excited to thank them, and we loved having them. Ed gave us an amazing cooking demo, and we cooked along with him. Steve and Jill Matthias are actually now giving 300 cases of wine to help restaurants. They're giving them for free to restaurants so they can sell them and raise some funds. And we also had Yvonne Cadiz, who is just starting a floral business, but also has deep roots in the restaurant business. And we have a really cool thing happening next week. We're going to be doing a themed, tinned, and conserved episode where we're going to be using all of these incredible products from a great company called preservestates.com. So anyone who is a bruncher, that's any of you and any of your friends, can use a promo code called BOOZY, and you get 20% off all of these incredible tinned fishes, which to me, like tinned fishes and caviar, are sort of like my favorite things to eat. So if you're not into Memorial Day grilling, we can do Memorial Day conservas together, and we're going to do cocktails with conservas, cooking with conservas, and all kinds of fun stuff next Sunday. Matt, I think that's all I got to then toss it over to you to tell everyone the rules for today.
Thanks, B. Hi, everyone. Matt here. So nice to see everyone. I always like to start this off by thanking everyone that continues to come in. We have so many regulars that it feels that we're building our own little community here online. And it's great to connect people from, I know that I have my friend Mike in LA, my friend Carlos in Long Beach. We have Mark in New York, Aaron in New York. We have people from Texas, Florida, all over the place. And it's just great to build this community and to share these experiences with each other, especially when, for those of us that might live alone or that are craving that human interaction. So thank you everyone for coming once again. I'm always blown away by how many people come and how many people just tell me that they really enjoy these experiences. So thank you. Just want to start off with that. Also, Todos Ponen, that's a series that Gabe, our co-producer and director of this.
And Matt, this is how we met. This is how we know each other.
Yes, so Belinda was on the second episode of Todos Ponen, which is a series that Gabe and I are running. We just dropped our second episode on YouTube, so if you want to check it out, Mito Kaya Todos Ponen, or you can see it, catch it on my Instagram as well. There's a link in there as well, so check that out. Belinda was a guest on there. She was amazing, and that's how we met. And this is how this was kind of.
No, you were amazing. I was really impressed by both of you, like your professionalism, and it's world class. Very cool.
Thanks, B. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. So let's get started with the rules of the road, and not too much stuff to go over. Biggest thing I think is the chat. So the chat is available to you. You can have it as a floating pop-up box or on the right side of your screen. Please interact with each other. Make it feel like a regular brunch. If you want to talk to someone, if you're like, hey, Annika, I love your background, or congratulations on graduating.
Sort of.
You're
like, Annika, you sort of.
Sort of. If we have any graduates out there, shout out to you guys. It's a really great accomplishment. Also, if you have any questions for our featured guests, you can type that in the chat. Gabe and Mark will see that. They will tell Belinda and I about it, and then you will pop up on the screen how I am right now, and you'll be live and able to ask our featured guest questions. So final thing, let's share everything we're doing together. So if you have the Chapel Down Brut wine that Mike's going to talk about, show us that. If you got your sake, your chimichurri, please show it to everyone. Let's all make it a communal event and share all these experiences we have. If you have a nice brunch outfit, share that as well.
I love all the green, Matt. I see a lot of people decked out in green today.
Yeah, I think it was like a memo or something that this is the green episode, so that's nice. Everyone's wearing green for sure. Dopes. Okay, so let's get into today's guests. We have an amazing lineup as usual. Here are our guests. We have a lot of really, really great people today. So first, kicking it off, it's obviously called Boozy Brunch for a reason. We're going to start off with the booze. We have one of the best bartenders that I personally had the pleasure of working with, one of the most talented mixologists out there in the game today. Out from LA, he's tuning in today, sunny Los Angeles. He's going to help us make a cocktail called Without a Net. It's my boy, my friend, it's Michael Fothrop. So he's going to be here today, show us how to do that. Really excited about that. And after that, after a few drinks, we're going to want to eat. And we have the Hungry Hutch himself tuning in all the way from New York City. He's going to show us how to make a chimichurri sauce and pair that with some roasted potatoes and fried eggs. So if you're planning on cooking along, right now is a good time to throw your potatoes into the oven. By the time Aaron comes on, it'll be all set. We'll make the chimichurri together. We'll plate it together, and then we'll all enjoy the meal together. So shout out to Aaron.
My eggs are already poached, Matt. I'm ready. I'm ready to plop an egg on it.
I'm more of a fried egg guy myself, but I love poached eggs too. So no judgment on however you want your eggs. And closing out for the lifestyle section, we have the co-owner and co-founder of Plant Shop Chicago. It's Ozzy Gomez, who is one of my friends. We go back a little bit. He helps out at Mitokaya, where I used to work, or I still work, I guess. He's a really great guy, all the plant knowledge. And he also has a little clothing line too, which is really well too, called Villains. So he's made a lot of cool shirts for us as well. So if you need something like that, he's here. He's going to talk to us about his favorite plants at the moment, talk to you a little bit about lighting and the importance of that, the difference between like indirect light, direct light, outdoor lighting, indoor lighting, super important stuff. And then at the end, if we have some time, he's going to answer some of your plant questions. So any plants that are maybe not looking too great, or you have some questions about, get those ready right now. So then when Ozzy comes on, you can just ask him straight up and he'll help you out with those.
Well, Matt, they're going to have to get in line. I already requested for Ozzy to be my plant sensei. So, I mean, I don't know how many applications he accepts, but
I have my own questions too. So I got his number, and maybe I'll just text him afterwards. But
there you go.
Yeah. So it's going to be a great episode. We have a really great lineup today. So excited for everything. It's the green episode. And yeah, B, I think I'm ready to kick it off. You ready?
Let's do it. Okay. So as you mentioned, Michael Fothrop is maybe one of the most impressive bartenders I've ever met. And we met him here in Chicago. Let's just talk about like drone delivery cocktails and edible gardens and all kinds of really cool stuff. But he's now in Los Angeles, and he's working with this incredible method, Champenoise sparkling wine and other things in a portfolio. The sparkling wine, though, is from the UK. So check this out. Chapeldon. I've tasted this wine. It's really delicious. And we asked Michael to come up with a green cocktail that'd be easy for all of us to make. So Michael, if you can take it away and take us through this cocktail and also tell us a bit more about the cool products that you're going to be using. This is the recipe. And for those following along at home, and I know we always have a lot of people that love to make the cocktail with us, this PDF for the recipe is also in the chats and was in the link. So if you have any questions about proportions and things like that, I always print my recipes up and like put them up here. But Michael, take it away. Tell us everything about you, about Chapeldon, and let's get something into everyone's glasses to drink.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, and thank you for having me on, Matt and Belinda. I really appreciate all the work you've done, and this is a wonderful series. So the cocktail we're going to make today is called Without a Net, and we are going to be featuring Chapeldon English sparkling wine. Of course, as I've already started drinking a glass of bubbles, you can always have a glass of bubbles while you make your cocktail, or just enjoy it as you go. Today we're going to be having just 3 ingredients in our drink. It's going to be some matcha tea, Hakkasan sake, and the English sparkling wine. So we'll start off with the matcha tea syrup. Very easy.
Also, Michael, this is about the easiest cocktail I've ever seen you make, so it's really exciting. You can easily follow up.
I didn't want to put any drone controls on anyone or anything like that too. I've done a virtual reality cocktail for Belinda in the past where I put a virtual reality goggles on her and made her drink scotch, and it was really fun.
So what's the proportion? What's the proportion? What is the measurement for the matcha syrup that some of us made in advance? There's Kaho. He made it.
Absolutely. So just a half ounce of that matcha tea syrup.
Gorgeous. I love the color of it too. It's very sexy.
And this is what gives us our green in the green episode.
Love it.
Next, we're moving on to the Hakkasan sake. We're going to put a half ounce of Hakkasan sake in there. I love Hakkasan because it's a sustainable brewery from Niigata, Japan. They have a glacier just outside of their brewery, and they only brew with glacier water. So all of the water is completely sustainable and is completely purified in the highest quality brewing water.
And Niigata is it the furthest south or the furthest north of the prefecture?
Furthest north, Belinda. So it's going to be like a skiing destination. It'll look like Alaska.
And like super cool climate, so you get really clean, pure water.
Mm-hmm. And imagine jumping into that, because like if you jumped right in, it gives all the incredible sake. It's real great omega-3s and minerality. And the reason we love sake because it is the alcoholic beverage with the only omega-3, so it's perfect for protein pairings, perfect for vegetable pairings. Anything that you pair it with, it's going to make that animal or that animal protein taste more like that. It's just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And this is a 3-year age sake. So they actually take that snow and they pack the snow into the brewery. So this is aging between 32 and 34 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 years.
That's insane.
It's incredible.
It's a super cool passion project. And they have a bunch of really cool products too that we could talk about in a whole different episode as well too. But
I see Natalie pouring her sake in. I see a lot of sake people. I love it. A lot of people make a cocktail along with you. What do we do next, Michael?
Next, we pour our sparkling wine in, and the recipe calls for 4 ounces. I'm just going to pour about 2 fingers with, too, just in case you don't have a jigger.
Wait, what does 2 fingers mean? I've never known that. I want to find out now. What's
for about here?
Oh, is it 2 fingers, like the measurement of your 2 fingers along the glass?
Oh, yeah, it's like the measurement of my 2 fingers. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's always been a mystery to me. Amazing.
Mm-hmm. And then we're done. We're finished. You can, of course, garnish this with a fresh herb from your garden. You can garnish this with a lemon zest if you'd like, or just pour some more wine in. But we're finished there. We're ready to go. We have our green cocktail with matcha tea, English sparkling wine, and Hakkasan sake.
Wait, we want to know how Kaho's garnishing his. Let's see it.
Look at the color on that, though. It's beautiful.
It's simple today.
Oh, nice. I love it, but elegant. Very good.
Elegant. Cheers.
Wow, Michael, thank you. I can't wait to taste it.
Thank you so much for everyone participating and getting the English sparkling wine and trying it. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're really excited.
Mike, that's delicious.
Yeah.
It's not like too overpowering. Sometimes with matcha, you kind of get that
Natalie.
We're going for that easy, chill, alfresco green. I'm on an LA patio at a restaurant right now with Matt making me a margarita.
Soon enough, my man. Soon enough, hopefully.
If I close my eyes, we're there, right?
But this is such a nice brunch cocktail too, because like the ABV is a little lower, right, with sake, and I mean it's like wine.
This is really good.
I wanted to chill, and Aaron mentioned him doing chimichurri. Chimichurri is just such a cool, complex sauce, and I just wanted something that the matcha was going to complement the herbs, the sake was going to complement the acidity, and then also the bubbles in the wine will just cut through the oily chimichurri fat. So I just wanted to kind of work with him.
Love you. You're so brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I hope you all really like it and enjoy it. I really love that you guys all tried it. Thank you so much.
So this is a little more visual on the Chapel Down brand. So if you see this in the stores or wherever you're ordering wine from for delivery and carry out, check it out. They make a full range, just like a champagne house, and it's fantastic stuff, so delicious. I've had all of these thanks to Michael. And also, if you want to thank Michael, we have his Venmo information up on that slide, and we'll share it a few more times. You know, why we're here is to drink together and not alone, but also to help all of these people in wine and spirits and with small businesses along and allow them to give us their magic and their service and tip them in response. Also, if you're playing along with bingo right now, you've hopefully now X'd out 4 squares. You've maybe made a green cocktail. You might have greeted a first timer in the beginning, as we always do. You may have raised a glass with us, and you might have shown us a bottle. So you might be on your way to winning something pretty fun. And we've had some real winners here of some nice packages. So, you know, please feel free to play along if you want to get something fun in the mail. But what's coming up next, Matt?
Yeah, next we have the food portion. Super excited about this. It's the Hungry Hutch himself. If you follow him on Instagram, you can see that this guy is amazing in the kitchen. Some not only amazing chef, but honestly an amazing photographer. Because those pictures of your plates, Aaron, are fantastic. And I've been following you for maybe a week now, and I just keep on scrolling. And I'm obsessed, and I just want to know more about it. So Aaron, we could spotlight him. Where's he at? There you go. What's up, man? How's it going?
Hi, Aaron.
Oh, wow. Thanks for
Love your shirt, dude.
Yes, my brunch shirt with the eggs on it.
Yes.
Because you're a fried egg guy, right? You're like me.
Yeah, I like fried eggs or a baked egg. So I already have my potatoes and eggs ready to go. They're
Whoa.
nice, crispy
Oh, great.
potatoes. We're going to get started with the chimichurri. So
Yeah, let's start us off.
have your parsley. Mine's here. It's all washed. And just kind of like cut off the bottoms, which tend to be a little bit woodsy. Save those for stock or whatever if you're making stock.
Oh, is that what you do? You keep the parsley stems for other stuff?
Yeah, it's good. Like a lot of people are saving the stems and other scraps, chicken carcasses. So if you make stock, just put that in there. That adds tons of flavor. And then the rest of it, I'm just gonna like coarsely like tear in half in the food processor. And if you don't have a food processor, you can just finely chop it by hand. I had one of those like mini choppers that I used for the longest time before I finally upgraded. That works too. So this is like a loose recipe. You just sort of do whatever you want with it.
Aaron, can I ask? My delivery service delivered Italian parsley, but does it matter? Like, what type of parsley do you prefer?
Yeah, I tend to use the flat leaf parsley, but Italian parsley, but any parsley you have is fine. Also, you can use sort of any other herbs and sort of make a similar type of sauce. So,
like cilantro. I love cilantro.
Cilantro is great. And then I have one shallot that I just cut up into 4 pieces. Going to throw that in. And similarly, you can use a couple cloves of garlic if you want, or all those like green onions that everyone is growing in their windowsill. Just chop those up, throw those in there.
Oh yeah, what's going up with that? Why is everybody doing green onions growing? Do you have some endive or something? I saw you replant something with leaves on your
I have a piece of bok choy that I put into some water, and it's like starting to flower and everything. So I put that.
Love bok choy.
We're gonna have to ask Ozzy about that. So once it starts to flower, you can put it in dirt. Wow.
And then next, I have about a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. If you like spice, you can add more, or you can add less. It's up to you. You can also like throw in like a jalapeno or some other chili as another way to get in that heat there.
Serrano, if you like hot spice, Serrano is my recommendation.
Serrano, yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna eyeball some salt. I mean, this is a condiment, so a good amount of salt. I probably put in like a teaspoon and a half of kosher
Are
salt.
you gonna salt bay it?
Okay. And then we need some acid. So here I have sherry vinegar, which is sort of like the way I learned how to make this sauce. 2 tablespoons, and like with anything else, any acid will do. You just have like some lemons or limes that'll work. Red wine vinegar, even balsamic, I guess, but that would be a little funky.
I love that they use the citrus. My citrus always goes bad before, I use it. So that you could use it here. That's so great.
Exactly. And
There
then
we go. Blend it up.
kind of just like let it go.
Aaron, are you trying to like really chop it finely, or should be a little chunkier?
So it should be pretty fine. So
Okay.
you can see this here. It's pretty like all finely chopped, minced, if you were in technical terms.
Got it. Okay.
Aaron, I have a question for you. So I don't have a food processor like yours. I always try to do it in my blender, but like the wheels get kind of stuck. So you'd written a recipe like scrape down. Is that how you make it work in a blender too?
Yeah, you want to scrape down just to make sure like everything gets nice and chopped and that nothing sort of goes astray. And just because sometimes also with a blender or food processor, everything would just sort of splatter up to the sides because of the force. You just want to make sure everything gets nice and incorporated.
Right. So smart. I love it. Here we go. Woo!
It's in there. It's all chopped up finely and straight down. Then you just start drizzling in some olive oil with it running.
So this should be like a slow, steady stream while the food process is running, right, Aaron?
So like once you start drizzling in the oil, you really sort of smell everything that's happening. And it should be like nice and bright and green and a little acidic and all that good stuff. And then just give it a taste. And you're good to go. Check your salt.
Oh, awesome.
You see like here's it's
Yeah.
nice green.
So it should be oily.
It should be a little bit oily.
Okay.
We'll use a better word, Matt. Glistening. It should be glistening.
Glistening, shiny, a nice green, bright color.
Can you do that with like a stick blender? I have one of those too. Would that work, or is it better to do a food processor?
Good question.
I think food
I don't know
processor.
if I should do lemon or lime.
What?
I don't know if I should do lemon or lime as my citrus because we don't have sherry vinegar.
Oh yeah.
I've done it with lemon before and it works great.
Oh.
Or you can do a combination of the lemon and the lime.
Yum.
Your citrus juices.
Because those are all good flavors that meld together, right, Aaron?
Exactly.
Yeah. Love it. Oh my God. And this condiment can be used for like frickin' everything.
I was just saying in the chat, I made some empanadas last night. I used it for that, which was great. You could put it on steak. I saw Amanda Puck said she put it on some chicken. I mean, it's such a versatile sauce. I mean, we're going to put it on eggs and potatoes today. Is there anything else you would recommend with it, Aaron?
Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Like any sort of roasted meat or grilled meat. Chimichurri, of course, is big in Argentina. They're known for their steak.
Jessica, you had a good question too. If you want to unmute yourself. I have the same question that you do.
Yeah, I was just curious where the line between chimichurri and pesto are because they're so similar.
Yeah.
So with pesto, the difference is you're going to have some sort of nut. So there's the pine nuts, and then there's also cheese. But other than that, like it's very, very similar. It's an herb sauce. But like it's a similar technique as if you were making pesto. You put the basil and the pine nuts and the cheese in there and some salt, and then slowly drizzle in the oil, and then boom, you have pesto.
Jessica and Aaron, I put cheese in mine. I made a chimichurri and I had like one little bit of Parmesan left from another virtual experience and dumped it in, and it tastes really good.
I added a little bit of garlic to mine.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just a big garlic guy. I just garlic and onions and everything, honestly.
I'm so excited to add this sauce to my repertoire. You guys, like, you can just make jars and jars. Right, Aaron, will it last in the refrigerator for a while? Like how long?
Yeah, it'll last in the refrigerator for probably at least about a week because the oil is in there, and so like That'll help keep everything safe and submerged and protected. But yeah, because of the olive oil, when you put it in the fridge, it will sort of solidify a little bit. So.
Oh, so that's what happens to all my olive oil sauces. That always scares me. So you do have to refrigerate it to keep it for longer, but then you have to like warm it a little bit before you use it.
Just take it out of the fridge before you use it. But as you can see here.
Wow.
Nice job.
That looks great, man.
That looks incredible. I'm so hungry.
What's everyone's dishes looking like? If you made it right now and if you're all set to show the camera, let's see some of those plates.
Hurry up, Mark. Hurry up.
I put mine on a breakfast sandwich.
I'm playing.
Who's that? I see Megan. I see Team Megan scrambling around, which is
Mark
so good.
looks really good so far.
Natalie, where's your sous chef? Natalie, where's your chef de cuisine? He's working on it. Jessica's working. I made a sandwich. I didn't know the prosciutto ends are so inexpensive. Like at some stores, you can buy the ends of the prosciutto instead of prosciutto. So I just like sliced it up and I had some English muffins. So I poached an egg, Maria Sinsky style, and made a sandwich.
Kaho said his potatoes are going to be ready in 10 minutes, so we'll check back on that. Anyone else?
Oh, I see Megan's. I see another finished dish. Well done. Wait,
That
Megan,
does
put
look
it back.
great.
Girls, put it back in the screen. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Jess, I want to see yours too. Hold on. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Wow.
Jess, yours looks so beautiful. All right, I see it happening
Those are good looking eggs.
over in Team Super Downtown New York City.
Mark and Dustin. Yeah, everything looks great so far.
Karen's got her chimichurri going. Well done, everyone. I love it. So fun. Well, are there any other questions for Erin? Whoa, yay! I love it. I mean, really what we have here, Matt, is a community of exhibitionists, and I'm not mad about it.
Totally. Erin, I know that you have a blog too, right, Erin?
Yes. So my blog is The Hungry Hutch. I've had it for over a decade now.
Oh my God, wow.
Tons of recipes on it. It's been my baby, and it's grown into a business. So yeah, if you want to check out more recipes, more things that I'm making, check out the blog. Follow me on Instagram. I have a newsletter where I just email out my recipes once I add them up there. So yeah.
Is your Instagram handle The Hungry Hutch as well?
Say that again?
Your Instagram handle is The Hungry Hutch as well, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Hutch all over the internet.
Copyrighted, hell yeah.
Erin, thank you so much for sharing your greatness and your magic and this great chimichurri recipe. I know that I'm going to be making it all the time, and it's going to make life a little better. And now I have a reason to use parsley. I never really understood parsley, so now
Same, Belinda. Honestly, I'm such a cilantro guy, but parsley is
right. It's kind of good. Okay, you guys. So this
Erin,
is more information on Erin. You can find his Venmo information here. So if you loved his chimichurri recipe, please help him out and support him as you can, and also follow him on Instagram. And now we have checked off 5 items on the bingo card, and you're that much closer to getting conservas so that you can drink and cook along. I'm going to be sending you some vodka. I'm going to be sending you all the stuff to be able to do everything with us next week. So get that bingo card done. All right. So I'm super excited. I've been excited about all of these guests. Obviously, we only bring people who I like, but we think that you'll like too. We have this amazing business showcased. It's called the Plant Shop Chicago. And for those of us, and I think a lot of us have this in common, who are obsessed with snake plants, monsteras, and all the things that millennials are supposed to be super into, but I'm not a millennial, and I love to. I'm not the most incredible about keeping plants alive, so to have this person with us today to sort of share the fun things that they have in the shop and also some tips on how to keep them alive is really a privilege. So I'm going to toss to Ozzy. And Ozzy, I wish you would also will you we talked about it kind of in the pre-show a little bit, but can you sort of tell us a little bit about your history and how you came to understand that you are the plant whisperer?
I mean, I'm not sure if I'm the plant whisperer. I've killed a bunch of plants as well, but I think
you are.
I think that's part of like that becoming a green thumb is killing plants, but not only, you know, kind of just taking it in for a negative, but just figuring out what happened, you know? I mean, there's a lot of different factors that are going to help you or work against you as far as keeping plants alive, you know, things like water, of course, light, things that plants just need and naturally get outside in the world. But when we bring them in, we kind of limit that. So we have to kind of think about those things, I think. So yeah, that's when it happens for me. I used to love plants. I grew up in Belize, so I grew up surrounded by plants, all the time. So as I get older, I think I like kind of just miss that more and more. And I think that's what's kind of leading me just full force into like the plant world.
Yeah.
But
Wait, so Ozzy and Belize, like it's kind of tropical, right? So a lot of these things that we're trying to keep alive in our urban apartments and stuff, like maybe
just
come from
weeds.
Belize or are happier there. Yeah. So we have to find ways to make them happy in our environment.
Exactly. Yeah, things like monsteras, right? Like they just kind of just grow on the side of the road, and like pothos, what we grow as like low light plants that are like leaves like this, they can grow to be like massive leaves that split like monstera leaves.
Wow.
So, you know, but that's the big misunderstanding. A lot of times these plants are sold with a certain label, and that's what I'll talk a little bit about. So for example, pothos, speaking about how it's sold as a low light plant, but in reality,
pothos, Ozzy, do you have one near you?
Probably.
Can you hold it
up? I'm not sure where it is right now. Oh, okay. I'm not sure where there is one right now around me.
Cool, no worries.
But yeah, the most common name is, I think, devil's ivy. I don't know if you guys are familiar
like this.
with that.
It has its own GIF, right? Like it.
Yeah, so the new leaves come from the old one, so it grows as a vine. The most common one is the golden pothos, and it's got like yellow goldish variegation on the leaves. So that's the most common one. But for example, that's sold as a low light plant. But when you go down to Florida or anywhere in Central America, these leaves are massive and they're growing above trees. And that's an easy way to understand what plants need. You know, plants have evolved and work in a way to search for light. And it's just a matter of time. Of course, really young seedlings.
Wait, hold on. So Annika's got a pothos. There it is.
There you go.
Nice job, girl.
There you go.
This was just back in my living room. I think this is a pothos.
It looks like a jade pothos, which the leaves are just all green.
I mean, Ozzy, how she's doing. I think she's crushing it.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, pothos are great. Yeah, I love it.
Nice job. Love it.
But yeah, so, you know, speaking about light, so I wanted to point out a few favorite plants that I have that are right around me.
Yeah, please.
I know Matt had asked, like, what is my favorite plant at the moment? And that is a really great question because it's always changing. But I couldn't pick, so I'm going to show you a plant that's my favorite all the time. Nice. And I'm not a homeowner. I don't have a garden. You know, I live in an apartment unit, so space is really an issue. So I'm always looking for plants that remain small. I just tend to like gravitate towards plants that grow in deserts and plants that stay small. So this is
it's so cute.
It's called an aloe arenaceae, and I've had this in this pot since September 15th of 2016.
Wait,
it hasn't been repotted.
Repotted. Wow.
No, and that's another big. I can talk about a little bit about like the main or like the top 3 things that kill plants, and unnecessary repotting is really one of them. But yeah, so this is, I just love it. This plant, it's somewhere in like South Africa area, and most of my favorite plants come from there.
Is that the biggest it's gonna get, Ozzy?
No, it can get bigger, right? But this plant is extremely slow growing. I can't even tell you off the top of my head how much something like this would cost because it's so slow growing. It's extremely rare for them to produce a pup or a little baby on the side, where most aloes do that. They kind of just clump up. It's extremely rare for this to happen. So I'm not entirely sure what has happened here, but I'm glad it did. This plant probably won't flower till it's at least 25 years old.
What?
So it's insane.
It's perfect because it never expands, like it stays in that same
exactly. It doesn't grow Right. In nature, in the wild, it clumps naturally a lot. Indoors, it doesn't do that. It doesn't offset. So, a lot of plants are propagated by just removing an offset, making more. Whenever it offsets, you do that. So that's why this is going to be so rare and sometimes even a little expensive,
Yeah,
because
but
of
I'll
that. Because
take 10 of those. I'll replace all my 10 of those.
but
I
no,
feel
it's
like I could keep that alive.
yeah, exactly. So and the key to keeping this alive is light, right? So this grows in a desert. So you got to think about things, or I guess how plants grow in a desert, right? So it doesn't rain a lot, which means there aren't clouds. So there's no shade in that sense. And then also it doesn't rain a lot, so plants don't have like a growing season where they like start small and they get huge. So there's no big trees to provide shade either. So a lot of the times when plants are really small, whether they're grown from seed, they fall under bigger plants, which provides shade at first, but then they outgrow that and then they grow in full sun.
Hey, Ozzy, so we have a question from Jason Hopple. Jason
Yeah.
Hopple, I see some plants back there, friend. Jason
Yeah,
Hopple's
quite a
in
few.
Washington, D.C. Did you have a floral question or a green plant question for Ozzy?
Well, I have one about ZZ plants. We split ours into a couple different pots, and it seems like it hasn't propagated to where it was before. It's slow growing. Is that something we can do to maybe make it grow faster or something of that nature?
Not entirely. ZZ plants are extremely slow growing plants. They're really low light tolerant and really drought tolerant. So they're extremely slow growing for that reason, because of those reasons. So separating them, what's going to happen, did you by any chance put it in too big of a pot?
It could very well have been. We just put one so it could grow into one.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that'll take a while. Not that you did something wrong, but it's just going to take longer. Here, I'll show you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have a ZZ? I think I purchased one, but I forgot to pick it up. Oh, look, it's so pretty.
This is a ZZ plant. Look, compared to like the size of the plant to the size of the pot, a lot of people may think like, oh, it needs a bigger pot. But a lot of ZZ plants, or I should say all ZZ plants, grow rhizomes underground. So instead of just growing roots, they grow these potato-like things, and that's how they make more of.
Wow.
So they're used to growing under bigger plants. So through root systems, so the space is always kind of tight, which then the plant spends less energy producing rhizomes. So by giving it a bigger pot, the plant is going to spend all its energy growing, but it grows in the underground, so you can't see it yet. So it's going to spend all the time growing under the pot till it reaches a max, and then it's going to start shooting things up. But because it's still growing, that's going to take a long time.
Ozzy, we got a couple of questions coming in for you. We got my boy Carlos from Long Beach.
Yeah, Carlos,
go ahead, bro.
Question?
Yeah. So I live just on the edge of LA, and one of the issues that I have is just like with pollution getting in my apartment.
Yeah.
You have any recommendations for plants to help with air purification?
Yeah. So all plants do, right? All plants will kind of do that for us. There's a chart somewhere, I'm sure, about how many plants per square feet to actually notice a difference. So we do get a lot of people asking questions like that, like what plants are good for air quality. And there's a short list out there, but it doesn't limit to that list. It's just like the readily available list. NASA some time ago did some research as far as air purification. But the thing is, at the time they did research, they just went out, like they sent somebody that was like, go to a Home Depot and buy what you see, So the plants the most common plants is what research has been done, but all plants do that. Now, not all plants do it the same. So if you think about how snake plants, let's say, or aloes that grow in desert, really dry areas where it's really hot at night in the day and then cool at night, that's when they'll start kind of reciprocating the oxygen, carbon dioxide, dialogue or conversation or whatever it is you want to call it. So a lot of succulents will take in but not put anything out during the day because they want to preserve the water, so they close off their pores in the day, and at night that's when they release that exchange. So snake plants and aloes will be said to be great for your bedroom because they'll help you sleep, because they have that like carbon dioxide oxygen exchange. So all plants really do that. to be honest, for you to see a difference, you'd have to fill your place with plants.
Ozzy, I think we have another question from Amanda, who's got a cute looking something green behind her.
Well, I love plants like Belinda. I mean, I love them, and I definitely am excited to check you out on Instagram and order something for curbside pickup. But we bought, so we bought this plant, and it's pretty tall. I want to say like over a year ago, but I noticed that, I don't know if you can see, but it started getting yellow spots on the leaves.
Yeah.
And we actually, so I don't know the name of the plant, but I actually just started like trimming the leaves of the plant, which is the reason why I did not give my husband a haircut, apparently, because I did a bad job. I don't know but I don't know what's causing it. I don't like, is it overwatering? Is it too much sun?
Is it only happening at the bottom leaves?
Ozzy, I think that's also a general question.
Are like so great. I mean, they're coming in, like this is how she was when we got her. Her name's Limelight.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, the place you have it at looks perfect. Obviously, the plant has the widest view of the sky at all times. So that's a perfect place for it. Now, if it's only happening to the bottom leaves, I really wouldn't start blaming myself for something. You know, the plant kind of just grows. You know, it's kind of just like, it's like, I guess imagine hair, right? Like you have to kind of cut your hair every once in a while. When you're a kid, you grow teeth, they fall off. No one's doing anything wrong with you. It's just natural process of growing. So that's the same thing with leaves, you know? If you think about how a tree outside, even in Chicago, grows, it's tiny, it's got a green trunk. As it gets older, those leaves will fall off in the fall. It'll harden the trunk, it'll keep growing, those leaves will grow, it'll fall off. So it's just kind of a process of growth. If it's in the bottom leaves, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay.
So but Ozzy, should we cut them off like when the leaves are imperfect? Because I'm so OCD. Like
that's totally up to you.
Yeah, so you can leave them or cut them off either
exactly.
way.
The way
like
that
my
I like
dream
to
is
think
that
about,
it'll grow and then have
it's definitely
and then, like,
growing.
these guys on the top. Okay.
Yeah, so
All
it's a Dracaena. It's a Dracaena plant. It'll grow a cane. It's called a mass cane. So it'll grow that cane, but in order for that cane to become a trunk, it needs to drop those leaves at the bottom.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily, it's just a kind of a process. If you want to cut it, I would say go ahead. If you don't, you just leave it. You know, it's kind of just up to you at that point. The way I like to think about it, if a leaf is at 100% is all green, but then 10% of it isn't working, 90% still is. So I like to think about it that way.
Ozzy, we're going to snip. I'm snipping.
Thank you.
Megan's got a question right now for you, Ozzy. You're really popular right now, dude. You're killing it. Go ahead, Megan.
We need this. Yeah. So my question is a little more extreme than some dead leaves, but I have of this plant that is like half of it is like thriving and doing great, and the other half is like completely dead. Should I take that half out? Like, is it harming this half? Like, is it okay to leave in there?
It doesn't necessarily harm it. So that plant is related to the one we were just looking at.
Yeah.
So same thing. It'll drop its bottom leaves as it grows. Now, those looks like two separate plants, so they're not connected. One of them maybe has dried up. The only reason I would take it out is just, well, because you know you might not want to look at that all the time. But another big reason is just in case it rotted. Now that part of the plant has bad bacteria that may spread into the healthy plant. So that's the only reason I would then repot it or move it out. Now,
so follow up. In that corner of my apartment is like where plants seem to go to die. I'm assuming that there's like a fungus or something. It's literally just in that corner. And so I bought like a spray. Is there anything else I can do? Like, do I need to just not put plants in that corner? Because it's like a chunk of my living room. And everything over there just died.
I mean, it's hard to say just, you know, from not living in the space.
Yeah.
But think about, you know, air circulation. Is it under a vent? Is it, are you placing plants on top of a vent? Is it just your darkest corner in the room? Think about things like that.
To another corner.
It's gotta be a
I
shot.
don't understand.
Yeah, it could be air circulation easily.
Really
It's hard to say exactly. Also think about what type of plants you're putting there. Maybe you know, maybe you just need to find something else that works there.
Ozzy, I have a new business for you. You're just going to consult. You're going to do like 5-minute little virtual things. There's Nathan Mark. Hello.
This is it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Tell us about your plant issue.
So this is an improved Meyer lemon tree.
Wow.
I got to change my angle around here.
That looks incredible.
Well, I've had it for 4 years, and I think I might have suffered the sin of putting it in too big of a pot in hopes that it would grow to be 7 foot or towards the max. I maybe have done that too early. But It was spider mites a couple of years ago, and then you know, I rescued it from that by just putting soap and water on it and putting it in the shower. But it's still it's just now starting to grow back, like to get a little bit more lush. What's the trick?
So good. I think it looks good. No, Ozzy, what's the diagnosis there?
It looks pretty good, especially for everything that you had just told me. I would have assumed that had died years ago. So literally everything you said, and looking at it now, I would say you're well on the road to recovery, and maybe someone should ask you what to do based on that plan. It looks great. You know, you're right. I'll address first, you know, over potting. The way I like to think about it is kind of like shoes, right? You'll eventually be the size your adult size is, but you don't put big shoes on to make you help grow faster. You know, so it's the same thing with roots. You start with a small pot, or not small, but like the correct size for the root system. And as it outgrows that, then you move to another size, and so on and so on and so on. The biggest reason is we're growing plants indoors, you know, so air circulation is already down. Humidity levels are already down. The soil won't, you're keeping it in a pot, you're confining it in, so the soil won't dry out as quickly, especially if it's in a big pot. The top half of the soil where the roots live might be dry, but then the bottom will be just super moist. Now, moisture, darkness, all of that will invite bacteria. And that's what you want to just avoid. But I would say that there's nothing necessarily you can do if you want it to be a bushier plant. I would say start trimming it. In very similar manner, bonsai would happen, where you trim the new growth so it bushes out. Imagine if you have one stem or branch, if you cut it, two will pop out from there. And if you cut those two more, so eventually that one turns into 4 or 6. So it's kind of just up to you. I think it looks great.
Ozzy, so I have this new idea for you. I know that you've got this plant shop, and I think it's doing great. And you have
a clothing brand.
And a clothing brand. So from the feedback of everyone here in the chats and whatnot, I feel like everybody would certainly pay for, you know, a little quick consultation where they just take you to see all of the plants they have in their home. So if you want to put that together as a business, I'm happy to help you. But I would also say that you guys sort of make clear on your website that if people buy them from you, you know, they definitely get some guidance from you guys on how to keep everything alive, which I think is really crucial and super cool, which I think is really fun. But can you also just tell us, Ozzy, like what's next to you? Like what's this kind of like palm tree-y thing to your right? And like what are the
pot?
Yeah, what are these things that you have?
Oh,
I don't know the names of everything.
So,
I'm so curious.
This is a Madagascar palm.
Wow.
It's called Pachypodium lemmerii, from Madagascar area, South Africa. So it's, a lot of people confuse it with the cactus. It acts very similar to a cactus, except cacti do not grow leaves. So this is in the growing season. It's a rainy season, so it grows leaves. When it's dry and it stays too dry, it drops all its leaves, and then you keep it drier. Basically, when it drops all its leaves, it's also really beautiful. It's got like just amazing spines all around. And this planter is handmade in Mexico. It's a Talavera planter. We don't have many just because we're finding trouble bringing them from Mexico, but yeah, it's beautiful. But yeah, I love that plant.
Ozzy, do I have one of those in my order? Should I trade my other things?
I don't think you do. You do have a beautiful alocasia Friedek.
My order is down to his left-hand side.
Yeah, it's literally right here. Yeah, it's a beautiful alocasia Friedek. It's got like velvety leaves. It looks fake. It feels fake. I think you'll be really happy about that.
I know there's a bunch of questions, but I think I'm just going to cut the line really quick because I have a personal question, and I am the host of the show, Belinda. Ozzy, so I told you I got this beautiful Venus flytrap from you. It's starting to sprout right here, some new heads. It's my little baby. I named it Roxanne. Roxanne. But Ozzy, should I repot this, or is it going to be okay in this little guy right here?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about carnivorous plants because it's in general. So carnivorous plants like yours, it's a Venus flytrap, they grow in bogs, so they don't really have soil. You can certainly repot it, but there's a few things to kind of keep in mind. One, most of its nutrient intake goes from eating bugs. So if you don't place it outside for it to kind of just do its own thing or keep your windows open, I would say go to the pet store and buy some small crickets to feed it. Yeah, you just kind of, there's the two mouths or lips or leaves have trigger hairs on each side. There's 3 on each side. 2 of them need to be triggered within around 20 seconds for it to actually shut. So if you put a dead bug in there, it's not going to do anything. It needs to be something that's moving around.
Wow.
So most of the nutrient intake happens through there. The root system is there mainly for anchor, not necessarily for any intake. Of course, it takes some water in, but it's not its main source of nutrients. So by moving it to a bigger container, you're not really doing a whole lot because the roots won't ever necessarily outgrow that container. Now, if you have multiple plants, then I would say move it to a bigger container. The biggest things is you don't want to use like a natural or just soil mix because all that has like rich nutrients, which can burn the root system. You want to use something that holds no nutrient, like sphagnum moss, which is in right now.
Yeah,
Peat moss
perlite,
by itself.
right?
Yeah, you can do a mixture of all those with perlite for drainage. Now, again, it grows in a bog, so the substrate needs to stay moist all the time. So by putting it in a terracotta pot, something that will absorb water out, you're already hurting it. So keeping it in plastic keeps water in. At the bottom, it has tons of drainage holes, which is really good for any plant. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you want to repot it, you can. You don't have to.
Yeah, Ozzy, this has been unbelievable, man. Honestly,
Unbelievable.
The knowledge you're dropping on us, my man. So cool.
Matt, I want to subscribe to whatever I'm supposed to subscribe to so that I can hang out with Ozzy all the time.
yeah, you know what? You can visit Ozzy at plantshopchicago.com within 6 feet, of course. It's located in the Albany/Mayfair neighborhood of Chicago. Visit his Instagram, plantshopchicago. It's such a pleasure to have you on, man.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Non-contact curbside pickup, or for a small fee, he'll deliver it personally to you. Ozzy, this has been great, man, honestly.
So wait, Matt, maybe for a small fee, people can reach out to us and we'll, do a little 5-minute, 15, 20 consultation.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Ozzy, you get all the royalties.
All right, sounds good.
So these guys are the hottest guys on the block right now with plants. So support them, visit them.
And in Logan Square, in like such a cool neighborhood in Chicago, like all of it is so good.
Yeah, we're actually in Albany Park, but not too far.
Oh, yeah.
Albany Park/Mayfair. They're right on Elston, right by that export, if you guys are familiar with that neighborhood. Yeah.
So we also forgot through the course of this in the beginning, because I never read the run of show, to spotlight for a second Mark Chi, who every single week, hi Dustin, is so awesome and helps us. He is my personal graphic designer. So if anybody needs any of that, we would love it. And then, as we saw earlier, Gabe, who I'm trying to find you to spotlight you, is also our sort of technical director. So we love both of you so much, and you are a part of making this such a great 1 hour for us every single week, and thank you. So appreciate it. So we also just wanted to show what's happening next week, and then we will actually, Matt, I think we're going to finish on time today.
For once, the first time, Belinda, the first time we're finishing on time.
For the first time, I didn't tell Matt on Tuesday, like, oh, we're going to add in 10,000 guests that you didn't know about. But so that bingo card is done. And then we also have some people here who I'd love to show and introduce to you. Nancy, are you still here? We have like our guests from next week. So next week, as I said, is going to be about tinned and conserved. So as everyone knows, I'm a little bit of a caviar obsessive, but maybe not during the pandemic because none of us have a lot of budget for that. But we do have some budget for some conserved stuff. Hi, look at me.
Wow, look at those plants.
So, man, is Andrew with you, or what's going on over there in your house?
Well, I'm surrounded by our plants. You're amazing and my new hero. I can't wait to stop by and check out your shop.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah,
so cool.
So Nancy works for Louis Vuitton Mott Hennessy. And we've known each other for a long time, and also her husband and their family is involved in this conserva business, right?
Yeah, so he is on here. He is, in fact, at Daisy's pop-up shop this Sunday. They're doing a farmer's market chef combo. McClue Farms are there. There's a bunch of cool breweries. So Andrew's there selling conservas at the moment. He's actually on, but on mute.
Oh, there he is.
As it is
Hi.
Pretty
Sick
busy.
mask, man. Star Wars.
Look at that. That's amazing. Wait, so this is a market that like anybody can come to throughout the course of the day?
They're open every Sunday. Joe's brother has his own farm, So in this pandemic, they're pivoting towards what all restaurants are really doing, but they have a great symmetry and great synergy because they're brothers.
Is there a baby in your hands right now?
What's that?
Does someone have a baby? I hear a baby. I hear a child.
Yeah, that's
Let's see,
our
let's
baby.
see. Oh, there's one.
All right, let's see.
So cute. Anyway, we're so excited for next week because there's a gift pack that you can purchase. Yay! From preservestates.com. And if you get this pack of conservas, then you get to make the cocktail with us with the conserva and also make the dish with us. And then Andrew's going to take us through who these great producers are. So there's a promo code just for us to buy this little pack, and we're going to be cooking and shaking and stirring with all of these things together. So it'll be kind of neat. And we're going to hang out with the baby. Hi.
See you guys next week. Thank you so much.
We can't wait. We can't wait to see you next week. Matt, I think that is all the programming we had planned for today. We're so excited to spend this day with you today, all of you. Hi.
Oh, hey,
Joe.
Joe. And we also have
Joe on here. Joe's
two
here.
Joes. There are going to be 2 Joes joining us next week, and I'm so excited about. So what are you going to be making for us next week?
Yeah, so, sticking with the brunch theme, I think you all had requested a Bloody Mary, which I think is an amazing idea. So we're going to spotlight Belvedere and the anchovy stuffed olives from Preserved Estate. And I think brine works really well in the Bloody, so we're going to do that. And then also, brine always takes me to a dirty martini. So we're going to do a little twofer, and we're going to share some of the ingredients and just show how to have fun with it and really show some symmetry between the two of them and just have a good time and have a drink.
So can you tell us a little, what's going on at Blind Barber right now? What's happening?
We are shut down for the moment, and there's a couple things to consider with Blind Barber. There's the barber shop and the bar portion. So hopefully the barber shop can get open, in Governor Pritzker's kind of phase 3, phase 4.
Right.
Action, and then maybe we can serve a couple cocktails in the barbershop. But for the time being, we're laying low and waiting to see what happens. A lot of that is dependent on state representation, and we're being very respectful of that. But our game plans moving forward look a lot different at 25% capacity and at 50% capacity. So there's still a lot of unknown there, but we are certainly itching to get back to hospitality and serving people safely. So a lot of weight.
Maybe, Joe, I was thinking maybe you should bring a barber with you next week. I feel like
I need one, Joe.
Joe, my guy.
We all need one, man.
I would love that, but unfortunately, I don't think anybody's gonna make a house call for me. So. We're all,
everybody could get a little. We're all penciled on my bangs, so
Yeah,
maybe we can ask Ozzy for his barber, man. He looks fresh as hell.
I mean, Ozzy looks amazing. So
it's all the plants. It's all the plants.
I gave myself a couple quarantine cuts, and now I have decided that is an unacceptable to do at this length. So I'm gonna wait. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to do that Bloody Mary recipe with you. We already have it,
Absolutely.
So we'll post that starting after today. So everybody can find that, and we can make that together and get some Bloody Mary gorgeousness. And don't forget, you can order this guy. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited.
I'm so excited. Next week's going to be great. We're also working on, for those of us who really miss in Chicago, a Gibson's Bar moment, getting a couple of pianists and some of our favorite bartenders to recreate Gibson's Bar for a lot of us. And then Mark is nodding, we're going to drink some really big martinis, and it should be a fun afternoon. And we also have Cheryl Jameson, who's a James Beard Award-winning cookbook author, coming to join us in a couple weeks. And she's going to show us a hack for an apartment smoker to make all those delicious smoking things if you don't have a vast estate with a big backyard and can't make all these delicious smoked meats that we all love to have in the summer. So I love all of you. Thank you. Everyone stay safe. Please continue to not drink alone. Drink with us, maybe. And thank you again to Michael and to Aaron and to Ozzy for sharing their magic and all of their gorgeousness. I hope that if you can, you will give them some support
support them,
through their Venmos. Or if you can't, we're just glad that you're here to support them in this way too. Super fun. It is now 1:02, Matt. So
Wow.
we're in the official show on time.
Yeah, we made it on time. Also, that means that the after party is officially underway. So anyone wants to hang out, we always hang out for a little bit longer. We can talk, we can drink, we can do whatever. Honestly, it's all good, and super excited. This was a great episode. Everything went so smoothly.
I know. Look at us. It took 9 weeks.